Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm ever-loving host Shorty, and yes, it's a Saturday review. But let's face it, this week I've done like 7 reviews already. It's been a hell of a week, so I figured why not carry on and do an extra one on Saturday. And weirdly, this is the one I care least about. It's basically Sinister. It's part of a Spider-Man crossover event involving Nick Spencer, and I just don't read Spider-Man that much. I quite enjoyed the Miles Morales thing when it started up. Ahmed is an absolutely brilliant writer, but the inconsistency of the artwork and then them doing the clone conspiracy just put me right off. So I thought, right, okay, let's give this one a shot. It's a number 1. Let's see what happens with it. And it's kind of frustrating because I tend to kind of hold Marvel to a slightly different standard than I do some indie ones. I know it's not great, but kind of like they're an industry leader. You expect big things from them. One of the reasons I generally don't review them that often is they tend to be a little bit more of a safe company as well. For people who've been following this for a while, or just random friends of mine, will know the reason why I absolutely love both Immortal Hulk and the current Daredevil run is that Marvel have given kind of like second tier but very, very talented writers the chance to do something with characters which are perennially read but not necessarily bank, and they've let them do stuff which is a bit different and a little bit strange, and as a result those titles have been amazing, and I argue with anyone who says otherwise. When it comes to indie comics, they take those kind of swings all the time. They will constantly be trying out new stuff because what have they got to lose? They're only going to put out 3, maybe 6 issues, maybe a bit more if it's successful. So they just go for it and hope like hell enough people pay attention to it that it does well. And when it works brilliantly. And I've discovered some absolutely amazing, cool things reading it, reading independent press stuff. So what we have here is Sinister War, the tail end of Nick Spencer's work. And it feels like this could be Nick Spencer getting ready to take that swing. Sorry, in my head, I'm thinking of baseball stuff here, kind of like trying to make it appropriate for my American audience. But when it comes to baseball, I've literally seen the movie Moneyball and 42. That's literally my experience of baseball, so I don't really know much about it. But you know what I mean, like a big old swing, hoping like hell. But usually when Marvel try this kind of thing, it ends up looking impressive. It doesn't do anything. But this has both Mephisto and Doctor Strange involved in it. So let's face it, if you're going to do massive changes, like actually reality-altering stuff, you've got 2 people involved in it, which can actually make that work for you. So yeah, the stance is there, the intent is there, but is it actually going to work? Now, obviously, that's a question for the later story. I'm just reviewing issue 1. And straight away, I was annoyed with it. Now, page 1 is kind of uninspiring. I like the color palette, maybe. I like the use of darkness and shadow on Mephisto there, but it doesn't really jump out at me. Marvel in-house style has never been my favorite, but at least it's usually competent. Right, I'm going to show you something. I'll try to cover a little bit so it's more relevant. That is what an eye looks like on a human face facing mainly forward, okay? The one on this side, yeah? Okay, you see that there? That is almost exactly the same as somebody in profile. That is bad art. It just is, and it's the thing that once you notice it, you can't not notice it, and it really put me off. And I spent most of the rest of the comic book concentrating on the little issues. This isn't colouring issues. I was talking yesterday about how amazing Jordie Bellaire is. Clearly, this is not her work. There's the same character in 2 different scenes, which, yes, admittedly might have different lighting effects on them, but just done in completely different colours. Like there's difference between grey and brown, and the rest of the characters, their colours match what they were. It just feels like for all Marvel have the time and the money and the talent available to them, a chance to do something cool and interesting and potentially reinvigorate Spider-Man, get ready for a new creator to come in, which is the perfect opportunity to actually do something different. You then leave it all in the hands of somebody else to deal with, and you can just walk away from it. Like, cool guys don't turn around for explosions kind of thing. Just leave that mess behind you and see what happens as a result of it. This could be potentially great. But the artwork lets it down. Throw in some kind of bog standard superhero writing, like the dialogue is kind of what you expect. There's a couple of twists in there, which I imagine if I've read more Spider-Man, they wouldn't be big twists. But for me, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, that's kind of interesting. But the plot overall gets bogged down with what could have been an absolutely brilliant, huge fight scene between 2 different supervillain gangs, the Sinister Six and the Savage Six. Which have some cool characters in there. Throw Quentin Beck into the mix as well. The fact that Spider-Man's there. There's loads of potential for cool stuff going on. But it's a kind of just a comic book thing. They spend a lot of that fight doing exposition, with the fight being a thing that happens in the background. You can see your character swinging and flying around, and there's definite threat and peril. But it's taken away from because there's a need to get the story told. Not shown, not using the situation and cool dialogue, snippy repartee. It's just, here is what's going on, here's everything. Like it's deliberately making sure that me, the new reader, knows what's going on, instead of allowing that story to develop throughout this event. And I think because of that, it's just annoyingly disappointing. It has potential. Who knows? Maybe the next few issues or the crossover, I don't know what it's going to carry on with, are going to be amazing, and it's going to live up to everything I wanted it to be. But I'm not overly confident, shall we say. That's it for me. I'm officially done for the week now. I'll be back on Tuesday. Till then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.